Welcome back, everyone, to this week's weekly recap and outlook. As always, I'm going to be doing my best to give my best perspective on this week's price action. All I'm going to be doing is my best, so whatever I say, take with a grain of salt. But let's jump right into it. So, the market's been in quite a consolidation, and a big reason why I think personally that it's in such a consolidation is because you are trapped between two different daily balanced price ranges. So these are called BPRs, where we have overlapping fair value gaps. You can see that we had this daily fair value gap here, this daily BPR, and then as well you have this. And so you're essentially range bound between these two. And so until one of these get broken, it's going to be hard for the market to expand in either direction. Now, on one hand, yes, we are generating low resistance liquidity, and I think at one point the market will come down to that area and draw down to this fair value gap, but I don't necessarily think it has to happen right away. You can see the market generates liquidity for long periods of time. You can see how the market generated liquidity all through here. Didn't come down until a few months later. You can see how, going to the weekly chart, you can see how the market generated all this for almost a year, and we didn't come down to take that out. Same thing here. The market moves in slight, slow deviated uptrends, and then it takes out all of this at once. And so a very similar thing could be happening, right? Although we generated this, we don't necessarily have to come back right away, but once the market gives a sign, I could see us coming in and taking that out at some point. However, right now it's just hard to say while we're trapped between these two areas. I will say, so there was an SMT. So if I pull up the 4-hour chart, there was an SMT with this low and with this low. Now, this SMT to me gives a lot of conviction because it's on the daily chart. However, when you start to look at SMTs, you can kind of start to get analysis paralysis, because you'll also note that right now we have like a million different SMTs. So we actually have SMT here, we have SMT here, and as well we have SMT with these highs here. So you can see, if you only look at SMTs, it can start to get really distracting, and you can easily get analysis paralysis. So I will say, though, this one on the daily seems somewhat strong as well. We reacted, we keep reacting off of these monthly order blocks here. You can see how we had this monthly order block and we held it. So since we held this on the monthly, it would make sense to continue distributing to the upside. But we will just have to see. And then same thing here, holding this monthly order block as well, pushing down into it, and we get a candle off of it. So the market seems like it's still bullish. And then something else that I've noticed that is pure speculation, please take this with a huge grain of salt, but as being like an analytical person, I analyze everything, and you start to see hidden things in the charts. So one of the things I want to show is, if you measure out standard deviations, this is a new theory I invented. I haven't heard anyone else talk about this. Obviously, if people know about standard deviations, you can measure out standard deviations of different things, and it will give you projections. For instance, this was the final manipulation down, and you can see, measuring out standard deviations of manipulation moves, you can get good targets for the market to go to. You can see how the 2 to 2.5 marked out this, and the 4 to 4.5 marked out this. It's just a good way to measure out your manipulation moves and project how far they could go. And so, anyway, don't ask me how it works, but there's some reason these do work in the market. And so one thing I wanted to show is that you can actually measure out different standard deviation manipulation moves. And you can see you got this one that measures out to here. So this is a theory that I invented. It's like called standard deviation alignment. You have that manipulation move going down over here. This final manipulation move. You have the 4 to 4.5 lining up here. Then you have this manipulation move measuring out standard deviations. You have the 4 to 4.5 measuring out right here. And then you have this most recent one, right? And it's like all telling the same story. This area seems like a possible area for the market to be drawing towards. And so if you aren't sure if these work, go check out just go start measuring the charts and just measuring out these standard deviations. It's crazy. You can measure out standard deviations of anything. Like for instance, even on the monthly chart, you can measure out this manipulation right here, and you can see how the 2 to 2.5 mark this retracement, the 4 to 4.5 mark this retracement. I mean, measure out like any manipulation, and it gives you solid projections for where the market could be going. Here's that 2 to 2.5, and that one wasn't perfect, but the most obvious ones work the best. You can see how this one worked pretty well, and so did this one so far, I think. Yeah, here you can see the 1 marked that, the 2 marked that. You get the idea. And so, anyway, I do think it's pretty interesting, but like I said, until we can get a clear break in one of these two BPRs, the market seems like it's in a consolidation. So we'll just have to see. All right, I'm back. So I started going on a tangent and I got off track, but the point I was trying to make is that we are reacting off of bullish levels. Here you can see a daily breaker. This is a low, high, lower low, higher high. We push into this, get SMT here. We have a daily order block. We have this daily order block. You have that BPR I talked about in my last weekly recap. Daily BPR. Here's another order block. Most people probably wouldn't see that. Until the market shows that we have started to move down, to me the market looks bullish. We're reacting off these bullish key levels. Here you can see the market getting rejected by this daily order block. This is when the market started moving down, right? You had this daily breaker block, high, low, high, low, low, pushed back into that. Here you had this daily OB, market pushed into that. Until we ever change in order flow, the market still seems bullish to me. So we will just have to wait and see. But once we do really start to show that we're let's say we react off of this, let's say we get a reaction off of this and go back down, then hey, we'll be bearish. But right now the market kind of seems bullish. But once again, we're still trapped between these two BPRs. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. And please take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm still getting better. I'm still really trying to really get a grasp of what I'm doing. But you can see how these levels will hold. And so I think that about covers it for today. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.